Global risk: the first cold wave of the season tests European gas storage. Welcome to Eagle News Channel. The first frost of the season prompted gas consumption in Europe to rise, and this has become a test of the ability to endure winter when there is a scarcity of gas supplied by Russia. According to statistics provided by the quotation agency ICIS, the demand for gas across Europe, which includes the United Kingdom, jumped by 44% this week in comparison to the middle of the previous month. According to the energy system operator for the United Kingdom, National Grid PLC, it is anticipated that the demand for gas in the country will increase to 417 million cubic meters per day, which is a 65% increase from the middle of the previous month. The United Kingdom Meteorological Agency issued a severe weather warning on December 7 for the whole country, stating that temperatures are expected to dip to -10 degrees Celsius in some locations during the next few days. Temperatures are expected to plummet to levels that are either close to or below freezing across much of northern, central, and eastern Europe. This cold stretch presents a significant challenge to the decision-makers responsible for Europe's energy networks, as well as the manner in which citizens respond to recommendations from governments to conserve energy throughout the winter months. The autumn season in Europe was exceptionally warm, which resulted in a large reduction in the demand for gas and gave countries more time to fill up their inventories. According to data compiled by the European Centre for Weather Forecasting, November 2017 was the sixth warmest November on record, ECMWF. Earlier this year, European countries began a race to save and import energy to increase their reserves, to avoid shortages and disruptions during the winter. These moves come after they turned their backs on Russian energy supplies in protest of Moscow's war in Ukraine. Russia responded by cutting off most of its exports to Europe. Russia was the supplier of about 40% of the gas that Europe needed in previous winters. That number has now dropped to about 12%, according to ICIS data. Europe has been looking for new supplies, including U.S. liquefied natural gas, LNG. Governments also enforce or promote many drastic measures to save fuel. Many European industries had to cut capacity to avoid losses because of soaring gas prices. The European Union (EU) stockpiles are already 91% full, according to the European Gas Infrastructure Association (GIE), surpassing the 80% target in November. That gives Europe some relief. Fear of power outages in winter and lower gas prices. However, now that winter has arrived, storage is diminishing at the same time that demand for gas is growing. Last Monday, Klaus Müller, the chief of the German Federal Network Agency, who is responsible for assigning gas to the quota if it becomes necessary, blasted the German people for not making an active effort to save energy. On December 8, he posted on Twitter that in week 48, the gas saved is too minimal, adding that this condition should not continue and that it is unacceptable. In July, the European Union established a goal to reduce its overall consumption of gas by 15%. According to the International Energy Agency, the demand for industrial gas decreased by around 25% during the third quarter of this year in comparison to the same time period in 2017. According to the commodity brokerage Marex, the demand for gas used for heating accounts for approximately 36 to 37% of the continent's total consumption. The preliminary data suggests that a lot of people are making an effort to cut back on their gas consumption because of rising prices and worries about supply. According to the findings of a global research and consulting firm based in the United Kingdom called Wood Mackenzie, the demand for heating is also 8% lower than the average for the past 5 years. According to data provided by the French grid operator RT, individual users in France have reduced their annual electricity consumption by 8.3% since the previous year. Rosalind Hulse, an energy and gas demand analyst for Wood Mackenzie in Europe, said that although people have turned on their heaters, they have not done so as frequently as in the past. A year ago, Caitlin Robinson, who is now 25 years old, moved into an apartment in the suburban area of Cambridge, England. She stated, "Our heating bill is almost double what it was last month." Robinson revealed that throughout the course of this year, she had turned the heating on 5 times, the primary reasons being to dry clothes and to keep mildew from growing in the apartment. "We invested in some toasty socks to wear while working from home and made occasional use of electric blankets before turning in for the night. The year before, we spent the majority of the winter days with the heating on," I quote her. Analysts are warning that Europe's natural gas reserves are only sufficient to supply demand during the peak 2 months of winter, while the continent's present LNG supplies are primarily temporary. If demand does not decrease, even while boosting LNG import capacity, Europe could experience a shortage of approximately 70 billion cubic meters of gas in the year 2023. Rod Al-Qadiri, Director of Energy, Environment and Sustainability at Eurasia Group, stated that Europe was fully prepared for the winter, despite the fact that the risk of having to allocate gas to quotas remained. Hulse, an expert at Wood Mackenzie, noted estimates that indicate temperatures in Europe will drop more drastically than average for the remainder of December. Some regions of Europe may have to limit use even further with a standard allocation if such a cold weather continues, Al-Qadiri added. "If it stays this cold for this long." The expert issued a warning that in the event that there is a need to tighten restrictions to limit gas use, European countries would need to find a means to secure industry and supplies for families, which is the #1 priority there. The French government issued a warning last week that increasing tensions in the energy markets could result in rotational power outages in the weeks to come. In the meantime, the Energy Agency for the United Kingdom has warned that if gas imports continue to decrease, it is possible that households will experience power outages from 4 in the afternoon until 7 in the evening on weekdays during the months of January and February when it is very cold. Support the channel by like and share the video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and the bell to receive the latest news. Thank you for watching.